Thank you all for joining. Thank you all for joining. If you are here to meet our leaders, please feel free to share in the chat what you hope to gain from today.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
Well,
Thank you, Megan. I appreciate that. If you like today's music, it's called Elevator Music on YouTube. 3 hours of non-stop fun. I have 344. We'll be making a little bit. Right, I have 345. I will give additional minutes. I respect everybody's time. I definitely appreciate you being on time. All right. Go ahead and turn this on. Thank you for coming. I appreciate you all. My co-host that I've been making, I've been trying to go through and find all the friendship employees. If you could just continue to accept people, that would be awesome. I really appreciate it. You all are here today to meet our school leaders. Today's January 28th, 3:45 East Coast time, in case you're in a different time zone. If you are in a different time zone, I appreciate you making the time as well. Just some virtual webinar norms. Please, as best as you can, mute yourself. If you have a noisy background, be on camera. It's nice to see your faces. I am an extrovert, so I definitely build and get my energy from other people. And in the time of COVID, it is very hard to be around a lot of people. So this is my best way to do so. So if not for anybody else, do it for me. I appreciate it. Use the chat feature first to ask questions, but definitely for anything else you might want to get across. I am recording today's session just so that it's available afterwards. It was a mistake that we didn't do the first time. We had a great session the first time. Should have recorded it. But also continue to just share in the chat what you hope to gain from today. And if you have a question, be sure to ask it because we all can learn from each other. There's a lot of great people on the call today. The agenda, I definitely wanted to let you know what's going on, what you plan to expect. We're going to do a quick introduction. We're going to talk about what our schools have in common because I really want you to focus on and get a real window into each campus specifically. So I want to kind of, briefly go over all the things we have in common so that you can really focus on each campus. Then we'll get into the schools each. I have it set to about 5 minutes per campus, 3 minutes, excuse me, for each campus. Sorry, to talk about what makes the campus unique, what makes the campus different from the other campuses, and then give you all 2 minutes to sort of ask questions, and then we'll respond to as many of those as we possibly can. And then at the end, close out, I want to tell you about the next webinar we have coming up, as well as end with a brief video. Depending on time, depending on how many people we still have in attendance, we may or may not do the video, but it's a great video, and I think it encapsulates what friendship kind of means overall. So what our schools have in common, we use Eureka Math, generally speaking. Just again, brief overview. For English, we use Wit and Wisdom. Again, brief overview. We are also driven by Common Core. We utilize the Common Core standards. That is our go-to. That is what we use to evaluate teachers and things to that effect. So we definitely want you to be aware of the Common Core standards. Additionally, here's some broad technologies that we use. We use PowerSchool for our student information tracking. We use MAP as well as a variety of other testing sites to make sure that we are tracking our data and making informed decisions based on that. Some other commonalities amongst our district is that we offer professional development at the school level as well as the district level. We also offer coaching for teachers and support staff. Schedules are inclusive of individual and collaborative planning, meaning that if you work, for example, in an English department, you will also work with the grade below and above you, as well as the other teachers in the network that work with that same grade level. We have a multi-system of interventions to support student learning. So that goes into our student support services team, as well as our special education team, as well as our general education team. Everybody is using different tiers of education, as well as resources and things to that effect to meet students where they are. We have a variety of robust school activities offering for students, including sports, but not limited to sports, robotics, all types of things. I'm drawing a blank right now, but we have a variety of things. I'm sure the schools will speak to that. We also believe that team members have a growth mindset. All of our team members are looking and striving to be the best in their position, the best in their field. They're always looking to advance. They're looking to grow within our organization, and we absolutely encourage and promote that. And last but not least, we believe that every single student that we come across can make it to and through college. If you do not believe that, if that's something that you don't hold kind of near and dear to your heart, I advise you to honestly leave the call right now because this might not be the place for you. That being said, let's jump into our school leaders. Our first school we have up is Armstrong. I am going to ask if Armstrong wants the sharing privileges. If not, I'll just go ahead and mute myself and let them speak.
All right. Hi, everybody. No, Bowman, we don't need sharing privileges, but I am proud to share the space with my colleague and teammate, Miss Angela Das. So we are excited to meet you guys. My name is Cabria Cowan, and I'm the very proud principal of Friendship Armstrong Elementary and Middle School. Our school is located in Ward 5 of DC, so we're located in Northwest. 111 O Street Northwest, and we are right behind Dunbar Senior High School. Friendship Armstrong Elementary and Middle School is home to our flagship Reggio program. If you all are familiar with the approach, it's an approach that originated in
Sorry, Calvin, I muted you by accident.
No worries. Thank you. Really taking ownership of their learning, really using that environment as the third person, which has really stretched us this year as we are in virtual learning, but our teachers are doing a really awesome job with it. When you come into our building, you'll see a lot of just nature art, a lot of dramatic play, the things that scholars do really lead a lot of their own learning. As soon as you walk into our building, everyone says that our building feels like a family. It's warm and welcoming, and all these beautiful faces you see. This was our picture, of course, when it was pre-COVID, and our building has expanded since then. This year, we have brought in a lot of amazing talent, and we're looking forward to adding some amazing talent to our team. Another thing that's very unique about us is that we are the only performing arts elementary and middle school in the city. And so we offer to all of our students vocal music, we offer instrumental music, we offer theater, we also offer dance. We offer visual arts, and I think I said instrumental music, as well as Spanish, PE, and the typical specials you would see, but we are known for our arts program. We actually have some students that are applying to Duke Ellington, of course, as well as our fabulous high schools that also offer some performing arts program in their schools as well. And I guess the last thing that I will share before I turn it over to my colleague, if she has something to say, we're excited because today we had our district-wide STEM fair, and we found out that our two elementary babies took first and second place in the STEM fair, which was really, really exciting. So that's just something that occurred today that I'm really proud of. I'm really looking forward to talking to you guys if you have any questions about our school, and I'll see if Mrs. Das has anything that she would like to add. And thank you for the congratulations.
Hi, everyone. I'm Angela Das. I am the math instructional specialist at Armstrong, but I also serve as deputy director of math for the K4 teachers. So I support all of K4 math instruction at Friendship Public Charter School. Specifically, if I have to brag about Armstrong, I would just say that it's a very family friendly vibe. Everyone genuinely cares about each other and their personal lives and how they're doing and how they're growing. And I will say for friendship across the board, that is true. But at Armstrong, we definitely feel like it's just a lot of a family and everybody does look out for each other. And then all of our awesome arts programs, it's so much fun to watch our students. We've had our students put on virtual plays and showcase their drawings for their arts that they do, sing songs for us. We have an awesome theme song now, thanks to our arts programs. And so just some fun stuff to highlight for our students.
Absolutely. Thanks, Ms. Das.
I would say I appreciate that. I'm trying to also just keep true to the 3 minutes because we do have a lot of campuses. So at this time, I would like to leave 2 minutes for anybody who would like to ask a question. Feel free to come off mute or put it in the chat, and we'll be sure to get to it as quickly as possible. I am having somebody say that they can't see my screen, so I'm gonna unshare and reshare real quick, just so that way that person can see as well. Feel free to hop off mute and ask questions. All right, not everybody at once. Maybe Armstrong just knocked it out the park. Uh, with that being said, we'll definitely have some time at the end for questions. So if right now you're thinking and gathering, we definitely understand the importance of wait time and don't want to take that away from you. So feel free to hold those questions to the end. Next up, we have Blow Pierce Campus. I will go ahead and mute myself. Blow, do you need sharing privileges?
No, we should be all set. Thank you, DeMar.
No problem.
All right. Great afternoon, everybody. My name is Gregory Spears. I am the principal at Friendship Blow Pierce, home of a Tier 1 elementary campus and soon to be Tier 1 middle school campus. We are very proudly located on 19th Street and Benning Road Northeast. If I were to describe the Blow Pierce experience from a student perspective, we pride ourselves on being a very well-rounded school. We don't have any one major focus, but we rather try to make sure that our students get a very well-rounded experience, both in the the traditional content areas, but also in our special subjects and our after-school clubs and athletics that we offer. My apologies, just right off the bat, for not being on camera. It is Daddy's Day to pick up from school, so I'm on my way. But nonetheless, I do have my elementary academy director, Ms. Dawn Scott, on the call, and my middle school academy director, Mr. Robert Gregory, as well. And I'll turn it over to them shortly. But from a staff perspective, we pride ourselves on calling ourselves the Blow Pierce family. One, because when folks come to Blow Pierce, they very rarely want to leave, unless it's for another position throughout the organization, as we have a couple of principals on the call who came through Blow Pierce at one point in time or another. But it's really a family atmosphere. We have a very strong staff culture. We have a lot of fun with one another. We also recognize the seriousness and the integrity of the work. We constantly say that we're all in on this work, no matter what. And it's also, we call ourselves a Blow Pierce family because a lot of times people that do come through Blow Pierce, like I said, don't leave. We traditionally have a very low turnover rate among staff. So when there are openings, we do look for the top line candidates. So if you feel like you are someone that can come and be a part of our Blow Pierce family, we'd love to have you. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to our elementary academy director, Ms. Scott, if she has any words on the elementary school.
Thank you, Mr. Spears. I love that on the spot. So good afternoon, everybody. I'm Dawn Scott. I'm the elementary academy director at Blow Pierce. I think Mr. Spears pretty much summed up who we are and what we do. We definitely put together a family that works really hard. We check each other when we're right. We check each other when we're wrong. We definitely put that data at the forefront of the work that we do for our scholars. And as Mr. Spears said, we are located on that wonderful corner of 19th and Benning Road. But at the same time, we definitely have a full wraparound family service. Like, we meet our families in their homes. We come to their homes. Our parents, they call on us 24 hours a day, but just knowing that that is an underserved community, we definitely make ourselves visible and available for them all of the time. So Blow Pierce, like, make it your choice. It's a great place to be. Come and join our family. Mr. Gregory, anything to add?
We can't hear you, Mr. Gregory.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
All right, perfect. Some of the great things that we offer at Blow Pierce Middle, we have college level algebra, we have lab science, we have foreign language, Spanish, arts, dance. And one of the things I'll say is we try to provide our students with real world experiences for that college and career exposure. And some of the things that we offer include robotics. Our students engage in coding. We have junior achievement, and we have choir. Truly trying to develop the whole child to be successful and prepared for high school and life thereafter. Blow Pierce Middle is absolutely should be your school of choice. And thank you guys for coming out today, and hopefully we'll hear more from you all.
Thank you, Mr. Gregory. I appreciate that.
Thank you. And just the final word to Mark, one thing I failed to mention is that, if you are someone who's looking for professional growth opportunities and leadership tracks, Blow Pierce is certainly a place for you. Both of our academy directors and instructional specialists, math and ELA, started as teachers at Blow Pierce. We have a lot of lead teachers now that started as paraprofessionals. So we are always looking for, opportunities for folks that want professional growth to put them on a track for success to be able to realize those growth goals.
Thank you. I'll also note that I graduated from Blow Pierce in the 8th grade. Side note.
All right.
Are there any questions? Feel free to come off mute, drop them into the chat. If you need wait time, feel free to wait till the end, but I do want to open it up for questions.
Oh, hi, I have a question.
Go for it.
So if you're interested in a specific school, like for example, I'm interested in teaching at Blow Pierce, would I have to apply through the Friendship, through the website, or do I go to that school's website and apply that way?
Great question. So the easiest answer to that is the job descriptions will have a location listed typically, unless there's something behind the scenes that, we need to kind of keep under wraps, hush hush. But other than that, you'll have the locations posted with the locations. So just be on the lookout for the location. If it is unclear what the location is, feel free to email me or call me, and I'll definitely specify what I can for you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
No problem. And that was also the question I saw in the chat, so hopefully that answers that question as well. Anybody else before I go to the next campus? All right. Next up, Chamberlain. I also worked at Chamberlain. Side note.
Mr. Bowman, can you hear me?
I can hear you now, yes.
Awesome. All right. So not to take anything away from the campuses that you have already heard about, but I do need you all to understand why you should join the illustrious team at Friendship Chamberlain. We are nestled on Capitol Hill, and I am the proud principal. My name is Diamond Harris, and I have been with Chamberlain for over 10 years. I actually started as TFA, and I'll share at the end what helped me to stay and why I chose to stay at Chamberlain. Mr. Bowman failed to also mention that he is a former teacher from Chamberlain, and also Miss Cowan at Armstrong. She was actually an academy director at Chamberlain. So lots of growth opportunities through our campus. So just a little more information about us. We are Friendship's founding campus. Our elementary and middle school shines as a beacon of exceptional student achievement. We have multiple years of Tier 1 status. That designation began for us in the year 2013, and we've been able to maintain that status over many years now, which we are very proud of. Our elementary students in pre-K through 3 receive individually paced instructional practices and tailored programs instilling knowledge and skills and habits that lead to academic excellence for years to come. You'll also see through our middle school that we have a college preparatory approach for our grades 4 through 8. We have a robust program that prepares our students to take advanced placement courses throughout the middle school. We also are the proud host of the Teacher of the Year for all of Friendship for both years 2015 and 2016. And we offer a number of extended learning activities and athletics, including art, basketball, cheerleading, choir, dance, flag football, national poetry slam, robotics team, Spanish club, you name it. We also have SGA. And as I said, we really operate with the mindset that an education opens so many doors and it can set you up to achieve whatever your heart desires. And that is really the goal that we focus on each day with moving our instructional practices forward. So if you would like more information, please feel free to reach out to us at any time. We do have an open door policy and we are very responsive. But I do want to acknowledge my amazing team who has joined us today. I have Mr. Turner, who is our Junior Academy Director, Ms. Torrance, who is our Elementary Academy Director, as well as our Director of Student Support Services, where we provide wraparound services for families, Ms. Valerie Christian. Team, I'll start with Mr. Turner if you wanted to add anything.
I do just want to tag on to congratulating all the scholars who participated in the STEM fair today. All 3 of our scholars who participated placed. Miss Mia Davis, our 5th grader, came in 1st place for the junior division, and both of our 7th graders tied for 2nd place. So as you can see, STEM is also in our blood at Chamberlain, and we love producing these great critical thinkers.
Thank you. You are at time. I did see there was one question in I learned that from you. I do see that there's one question in the chat. What are some qualities to make a successful academy director? And I'll actually turn it to Mr. Turner, since you are a relatively new hire. Would you mind shedding some light on what you think makes a successful academy director?
Yes, being new to the Chamberlain family, I think one of the things that will help me be successful in this role is my ability to be adaptive and to be a team player. We all come with a strong skill set of being able to disaggregate data, work with scholars and coach teachers. But one thing that I've noticed about Chamberlain is that Chamberlain is a family, and Chamberlain actually, if there's a gap, someone steps in and fills it in. So being an all-around team player, definitely bringing that strong AP skill set to the table, but be willing to be flexible as well.
Thank you for that. Couldn't say
As
it
my
better.
principal always says, we grind at Friendship. So yeah, and we did.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you for that question, Emmanuel. I really appreciate it.
May I ask a quick question?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to ask, I know that, we have the theme of all kids going to college. And I was just interested in looking at where's the gap when we look at our 8th graders that are going into high school, looking at math and language arts. Is there a gap in there when we look at the student achievement in math and language arts for our 8th graders? And also, are they required to take pre-algebra?
I'll leave it up to any leader who would like to respond.
So I'll just start with the first question, just about the gaps. As Principal Harris said, coming from the Chamberlain family and now having a middle school at Friendship Armstrong, which is relatively new. We're going into our 2nd year. The reality is many of our students have stayed with us for so many years. So we rear our students literally from pre-K through 8th grade. And so when they're going off into high school, they have likely already started to take courses that prep them for high school, possibly at the 6th, 7th, 8th grade level. And that speaks a lot to our very rigorous curriculum. I would also say that we do offer pre-algebra to our 8th grade students who do demonstrate readiness and have the content knowledge and the pedagogy for the course. But I would definitely say that we prepare our students to and through. You will see that language articulated as early as their 3-year-old year. And we see them throughout their years in 8th grade. Of course, any of the high schools can jump in, or any other middle school leadership can jump in as well. But I would say that our students are well prepared to take on the rigorous courses of high school due to their elementary and middle school experiences.
Thank you.
I would absolutely concur. Those scholars who, first of all, good afternoon. My name is Jerome Young. I am the Lower School Academy Director at Friendship Collegiate Academy. And just to answer that question, there absolutely are gaps. But one of the things that we have noticed is that the gaps from those scholars coming from our campuses, meaning our elementary and middle school campuses, are far less than those coming from outside of our system, because we absolutely have a system that works. And you can see clearly in the data from those scholars that have come from our campuses.
You just went out, Young. We can't hear you, Young. Yeah, now you're muted.
How about now? Can you hear me?
Good.
Okay, so I was saying that the data shows consistently that those scholars coming from within our system are performing at a better, a higher rate than those scholars who are coming from outside our system on a consistent basis.
I want to piggyback on that and speak specifically to Blow Pierce. I know our 6th, 7th, and 8th grade math and ELA teachers are some of the strongest teachers that we have in the building. And at Blow Pierce, we have those teachers loop with their kids from 6th grade all the way through 8th grade. So being with a group of students for 3 years really allows our teachers to get to know our students, one on an interpersonal level, but also really know them from an academic and a data standpoint. So as we progress through 3 years, they're able to really drill down on the gaps and the deficits so that they can prepare students to be as prepared as possible when they get to the high school level.
Thank you. I do see there's a quick question I think I can answer in the chat. Class sizes they differ depending on what you're teaching. So if you're teaching special education, inclusion, or resource, obviously your class size is going to be different. But I would say on average between 15 to 22 students for a class size. And professional developments range from a variety of things, but we'll have webinars in the future that'll speak more exclusively to professional development, and that's more of a what we all have in common kind of thing. And I'd like to keep it specific to campuses, if you don't mind. Next up, Collegiate Academy. I also graduated from Collegiate.
Absolutely. Again, good afternoon. We have the one thing I would say to sum up Collegiate Academy is we are giving scholars the best education money can buy without them having to spend a dime. It is absolutely amazing to see some of my former scholars who are now professionals working alongside me. So they're now colleagues. And I think that speaks to the work that Collegiate has done and Friendship as a whole has done when we talk about motivating our scholars to be ethical, literate, well-rounded, and self-sufficient citizens who are actively contributing to their communities. That is absolutely the work that we are doing at Collegiate Academy. And the work shows in our scholars. We have been doing this for 20 years. We have one of the oldest and most successful early college programs in the city. Scholars have gone to several universities who are in prominent universities throughout the country, making waves and being those citizens that we talk about. Friendship Collegiate Academy also is a family environment. We are very hardworking, and I'm going to be honest with you. If you don't have a love for children, you will be very uncomfortable in our midst because that is our drive. We love children. We want the best for children, and all of the work that we're doing is for the betterment of children. So if you are interested in Collegiate Academy, that is something that you must hold near and dear to your heart. We offer, in addition to early college, we do offer pathways in which scholars are able to find their interest. One of the pathways is fine arts. We have health sciences. We have computer science. And then we have the engineering pathway. So those are the 4 pathways we offer. And one of the other things about Collegiate Academy is, I say it all the time, our building almost never closes. So at 7 o'clock in the morning when we open up, there are scholars there ready. And sometimes as late as 8 o'clock p.m. And we're not just talking about sports either. There are scholars leaving and staff members leaving Collegiate at 8 p.m. after working a full day, after going through a full day of classes. They're there after school for several hours after, just getting in that work and building those authentic relationships with both staff members and teachers. And we just continue to do the work that it takes for scholars to be successful. And it's great to see some of my former students on the call at this time.
Thank you for that, Mr. Young. I do see a few questions in the chat. We are going to try to respond to the ones that we haven't commented in the chat, and then speak specifically to some of the ones. Young, correct me if I'm wrong, we do not currently offer lacrosse.
We don't currently offer lacrosse. However, we do, and it's funny, we have a gentleman who we've met with last year, right before the pandemic, who was offering some of the equipment for lacrosse. And we just had to formulate an opportunity. We didn't get a chance to really delve into our opportunities with this young man, but we do have someone who was willing to offer us lacrosse equipment. One of the things we do offer, though, and we're one of the only high schools in the charter system that offer golf and tennis. So we do have those sports available. We also have a brand new football field built on the backside of our beautiful campus. And we are located on Minnesota Avenue Northeast, Ward 7. We are, and as a result of us building this new football field, it's a community field. So we will definitely be looking to offer programs where we have a varied sports and athletics on that field.
Thank you. We are going to continue to answer the questions in the chat. I would like to move to the next campus. We have Ideal, if you're in the building.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Joseph Spade. I am the proud principal of Friendship Ideal Academy, where we are the home of the mighty, mighty Warriors, as you can see from my virtual background here. Thank you all for joining us today. Let me start off by saying, first and foremost, if you join any one of the campuses within Friendship Public Charter School, you are now in a family. We are a family. It doesn't matter what campus you go to. So when you hear family and you hear us talk about scholars, that is something that we truly live out. And so any campus that you're considering, you're in great hands because you have great leaders that are on this call. That being said, let me talk to you a little bit about Friendship Ideal Academy. We are located at 6130 North Capitol Street Northwest. We are slightly different from other campuses because we're a little further out than many of the campuses that are represented here on this call and within Friendship Public Charter School. We are located in Ward 4. What makes us distinct is that while we are located in Ward 4, most of our children are bused in. About 80% of our children are being bused in from Ward 7 and Ward 8. We are also new to Friendship Public Charter School, so we consider ourselves the babies, but we consider ourselves to be the baby family of Friendship Public Charter School. Why do I say that? We are new to Friendship Public Charter School because 2 years ago, prior to being Friendship Ideal Academy, it was Ideal Academy Public Charter School. And if you've done any research about this campus, Ideal Academy did lose its charter because of some of their academic needs that were never taken care of or resolved before renewing their charter. And so they reached out to Friendship Public Charter School, said that we want to be a part of a great family, so that we want to be a part of Friendship Public Charter School. Friendship Public Charter School then took over Ideal Academy, hence Friendship Ideal Academy. What I will say about this picture is that we don't always look like this. This was from our convocation. We are actually very professional, but this is a great picture that captures who we are. We go hard if we need to, and we even make sure that we are in our classrooms and that we have our content correct and making sure that we are ready every single day to get our warriors to and through college. You will also hear that from other campus leaders as well. It's about to and through college. And if you think about college and all the great things that you learned and also the great times that you had, why would you not want a child to experience that? Some of your best relationships are from a college experience, and we want our warriors, we want our scholars to experience that as well. So we are also very small. We have less than 400 children, which is going to be contrary to any other campus because as we grow, we're growing to become what it looks and sounds like within another Friendship Public Charter campus. So my time is up. If you are ready to learn, if you are ready to grow, if you are ready to be one of the dopest educators in Washington, D.C. and also the nation, then you need to check out any Friendship campus, but specifically my campus, Friendship Ideal Academy.
Thank you, Mr. Spade. At this time, I'll go ahead and open it up. Anybody has any questions specific to Ideal? We'll try to address some of these questions that are talking about all the campuses at the end. I do want all the campuses to get a chance to have a turn. Any Ideal specific questions? All right.
I have a question for Mr. Spite. Hello?
Go for it.
Yeah. Taking over another school, what did you find that were the main reasons that that school, the previous school, was not successful?
Great question. And I don't know why you can't see me right now, but I am actually still in the screen and I don't know what's going on with my lighting. But nonetheless, I'm going to answer your question. Academic deficiencies. I think over time, there were just gaps that were never addressed. And there are, in many cases, children who have been there since preschool that are now 7th and 8th graders, and the academic and achievement gaps were never addressed appropriately. And so what we found in any turnaround effort within Friendship Public Charter School is that we go in with a friendship model that leads us to a space that we are not just trying to figure it out, right? There is a model that we follow that we believe encourages and supports academic needs from day one. And so to best answer your question, I would just say that academic needs were not resolved in a manner that would allow them to grow and to grow academically.
Hey, can I follow up? As
Sure.
far as your students there, did you basically keep the same students?
We sure
and,
did.
And socially, emotionally, did you see a change in them also?
Yes, I would say yes to your first question. We did have the same students, many of the same students. They were first prioritized as the warriors to return because we didn't want to say, hey, you got to go. We open the doors to them. We open the invitation to them. So yes, to your first question. To your second question, yes, we did address those gaps as well because we brought in the resources. We brought in the guidance counselors. We brought in the psychologists. We brought in the instructional coaches to really address it from day one in alignment to our model.
Well done. Thank you for letting me ask.
Thank you. Absolutely.
All right. I do see a nice question in the chat. I want to get back to it at the end. I'm going to have Southeast go up next. We do have a unique situation at Southeast as there are two principals that serve each the elementary and the middle school campus. I'm not sure which one of them, rock, paper, scissors, to go first, but I'll let them jump on.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is David Laurie. I'm the principal of Southeast Academy Elementary School. We also have on the call Mr. John Snowdy and Ms. Mukasa. Mr. Snowdy serves as our middle school principal and Mrs. Mukasa serves as our academy director for our elementary school. And we are excited to share with you the greatness of Southeast Academy. We're located in Ward 8, as the name implies, off of Martin Luther King Avenue and Milwaukee Place Southeast. We serve some of the most needy families in the city where the median income is about $38,000. I believe we're now the largest Friendship Public Charter School campus in terms of population of students. In the building, the building operates scholars from preschool all the way up to 8th grade. We're excited to be in what we call the Southeast Corridor. That includes our high school and our sister school, our Friendship Technology Preparatory School. So our scholars start off with us in preschool and go all the way to 12th grade. Something that is that we're really proud of and supports the continuity of learning that we promote at Friendship Schools. We have been identified as a Tier 1 campus by the Charter Board, like some other campuses in our Friendship schools. We have a partnership in our early childhood grades with our Apple program using the Every Child Ready curriculum that promotes all 3 and 4-year-olds being exposed to various content, including literacy, math, art, STEM, and with the goal of scholars being kindergarten ready by the time that they reach 5 years old. We pride ourselves on our emerging STEM programming with one-to-one computers from 1st grade all the way up to 8th grade, and STEM teaching and learning as early as preschool. For specials, we have a dynamic set of specials for our scholars to expose that well-rounded learning that we want to see at all Friendship schools, including art, music, technology, engineering, Spanish, library, PE, all the way in the elementary grades, all the way up to middle school. We have a number of extended learning activities, including our championship basketball team, cheerleading team, robotics team. We have art, we have Girl Scouts, we have a phenomenal band, among other programs. Like other Friendship schools, many of our staff love our family atmosphere and the potential from growth. I can speak for myself. I started off as a teacher in Friendship, a teacher a few years back at our Blow Pierce campus. I moved into instructional coaching, transitioned to our Woodridge campus, became the IB coordinator at Woodridge, became assistant principal at Woodridge, and then took over as principal at Southeast Academy. So I think I'm a testament to the opportunities for growth within Friendship schools and that we have at Southeast Academy. So we encourage you to check us out, and we would like to see you very soon and get to know it. I would turn it over to my colleagues, Mr. Snowdy, if he would like to share anything. Did we lose Mr. Snowdy?
Thank you, Mr. Lowry. I like Mr. Hello, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. All right, thank you. Mr. Spears, had to take care of some parenting duties on my way to soccer trials, but thank you, Mr. Lowry, so eloquently expressed. This is such a great place to come. What specifically I'll focus on is the fact that Friendship in general is a great place to be an aspiring leader. One, because Friendship, like no other public school system in the area, definitely invests in their leaders. When we had pre-leaders, we had any opportunity, for the most part, we wanted to go to a training conference to learn. We could submit a proposal and we could be off and ready to go and learn. That's one thing that I really feel is very different Friendship really invested as leaders because they know that investing in leaders, leaders are going to in turn invest in the teachers, who are going to in turn invest in the students and get results. You become the best that you can actually be. I began in Friendship in 2012 as assistant principal at Blow Pierce campus. Left, became a principal in Baltimore, and then came back as a principal here in Southeast. So definitely, I would never have had the opportunity to lead a school, become a principal, if I didn't get that training here at Friendship, and I definitely believe that. So I know a lot of you have a number of leadership opportunities, and you want to become great leaders. Friendship definitely invests in making sure that you're able to do that. And one thing specifically is that the cohort and the group of principals, almost all of us get along extremely well. Almost all of us have been academy directors in Friendship and kind of come up together in that. And because of that, we have the ability to go to each other if we need any support or ideas. And that's another thing that's really unique. We don't have like an adversarial or competition type of, we still compete, but we don't, we definitely want to make sure everyone wins. So we work together and we collaborate with. So if you're interested in that, I think Friendship is a great place to look into.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it. I do see a few questions that are getting answered in the chat. So I'm gonna go ahead into the next campus. We do have 2 campuses left. Tech Prep, you're up.
Tech. Come on, Liz.
Prep, I got you.
Prep. Good afternoon, everyone.
Anybody ask y'all to do?
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Kune Booth, the proud principal of Friendship Technology Preparatory Academy. And with me, we have our amazing Academy Director, Miss Lynn Jones. And Mr. Bowman, can you allow me to share the screen, please? All right.
You should be good now.
Okay.
Welcome to Friendship Tech Prep Academy, located here in beautiful downtown Southeast Washington, D.C. I'm Sean Beach, your 2020-2021 SGA president, and I can't wait to show you all of the amazing things we have to offer here at Friendship Tech Prep. Now, let's get started in the heart of our school with our SGA vice president, Raquel Robinson.
Hi, I'm Raquel Robinson, and we are standing in what I like to call the epicenter of the school. No matter what your destination is, when arriving at Tech Prep, you must first go through our school lobby, where we have our spirit trains, where we recorded our Beyond Stage Challenge, and have hosted many special guests. This epicenter leads us right into our school cafeteria. You see, our school cafeteria is no ordinary lunchroom, but it's where we have our major events, like Harvest Fest, honor roll assemblies, and even Wildin' Out Wednesdays, and our infamous lip sync battles during homecoming week. Right across from our school cafeteria is our main office, where you can fulfill all your needs when arriving at Tech Prep. Let's go inside and meet our principal, Miss Kune Booth.
Welcome to Friendship Technology Preparatory Academy, the Tier 1 Big Tech campus. We are incredibly excited that you will have an opportunity to tour our school. We have continued excellence in STEM education by providing a rigorous academic curriculum that rewards innovative thinking and integrates STEAM experiences into daily instruction. Tech Prep instills in students the foundations for college success and a lifetime of exploration and achievement. We offer the Academy of Engineering and the Academy of Urban Ecology that you can select to join at the end of your freshman year. Both academies support scholars in moving through high school and into post-secondary opportunities, as well as multiple career pathways, and equipped with the knowledge, skills, and confidence derived from advanced academics and work-based learning experiences. Friendship Tech Prep builds global scholars, as you will have an opportunity to study Mandarin Chinese or Spanish in addition to your academy course. I am proud that 100% of our scholars have an opportunity to earn college credit before graduation. 100% of graduates are accepted to competitive colleges, and our seniors have accumulated more than $2.5 million in scholarships. We are a house built by grit and driven by innovation. Again, welcome to Friendship Technology Preparatory Academy and our wonderful learning community. Our schoolhouse is alive with much energy, enthusiasm, and a high standard of excellence. It is indeed a place where opportunities abound.
Our first. So, at this time, Ms. Lynn Jones, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, just very quickly, because I know we are over our time, Mr. Bowman. So as you can see, like, we're very excited, and the culture with our students, they're excited to be there. We're all dying to get back, but that culture also extends to our staff as well. So as all of the other leaders have shown and shared, that we are definitely a family, and that is something not unique to every campus, is unique to the organization. So when you join one of, and you saw how Mr. Bowman shared, he's been, in quite a few places, as well as our leaders. I started at Friendship as a teacher as well. So there are a lot of opportunities to grow, and even not at the same campus, but within the other campuses as well. So I hope you select one of our campuses.
Thank you so much, Ms. Jones. And Ms. Booth, if you wouldn't mind dropping the link in the chat. I know it was a 16-minute video. It is worth the watch. Last but not least, Woodridge International. I apologize. Next webinar, when we have all schools, we're going to do reverse order. Woodridge is going to go first. And unfortunately, Armstrong, you have to go last. But that executive decision made right now.
Thank you, Bowman. All right. So Woodridge
Eagles.
Ivy.
You know.
Thank you, ladies. So we are definitely saving the best for last. All of our friendship schools are great, but I'll start with saving the best for last. My name is Felicia Owen Grant. I'm the head of schools at Friendship Woodridge International School. I also have my resident principal here, Miss Erica Stevens, and then also Dr. Chastity Ship, our international baccalaureate coordinator. I'll give you a little bit of info about Woodridge, and I'll volley it to Mrs. Stevens. And so Woodridge, something that really makes us unique. Number one, we are the only international baccalaureate world school within the Friendship Public Charter School District, and one of the only international baccalaureate world school charter schools within DC. And so when we think about our academic curriculum, when we think about the way that we approach, teaching and learning, when we think about staff and culture, we're really looking at it from a global and a world perspective, not just looking at it from like a standard, I would say, American style school. Both of our campuses are tier 1. We've had a tier 1 rating at least one of our campuses since 2014, and both of our campuses since 2016. Some other accolades that I love to share, just because it took a community to get these accolades, including scholars, staff, students, and parents, but also the DC Policy Institute named us a leveler school for leveling the academic playing field for students in DC. And then we've also received the Bold School Award, which is an academic performance award for looking at at-risk students' achievement and making sure that at-risk students are also moving at the same trajectory as non-at-risk students. So we're really proud of the academic performance of our students, because It's taking a team to be able to achieve that. Our students still struggle from a lot of the challenges that systemic racism is caused in the communities that we serve, but we have shown time and again that it doesn't matter where our kids come from, it doesn't matter what their zip code is, they're able to achieve at the same level as any student that may have more opportunities. Our motto at Woodridge is teamwork makes the dream work, and we truly believe that. We are only as good as our weakest link in a sense. So we really work together to make sure that everybody on the team is dynamic. So when we think about staff, professional learning is definitely critical. We make sure that every staff member has an individual growth plan so they can, really focus on their own personal and professional goals and achievements, but also when it comes to teaching and learning or whatever their particular role is. A lot of the other campuses talked about how their staff members matriculate to other places in the organizations or the roles. You'll find that at Woodridge as well. Actually, our deputy director of science was a Woodridge educator. Our deputy director of math was a Woodridge educator. Mr. Lowry talked about how he came through Woodridge and had 2 positions that helped launch him to his principal position. Our teacher of the year, 2009, 2013, and the most recent in 2019. We didn't have it through 2020 yet because of the pandemic, but I'm hoping that the 2020 teacher of the year will be from Woodridge as well. When we think about students, we do have a robust academic offering for students. So we do offer Algebra 1 for our scholars. So not just pre-algebra, but our scholars leave with Algebra 1 in 8th grade if they're ready. We have unique courses like business entrepreneurship for scholars as well. We also are the only middle school campus in Friendship that has a broad travel for our students. So our students do travel abroad to really immerse themselves in global learning and to learn a lot about other cultures. In addition to that, we have a really robust offerings for after school offerings as well. So, and then also championship basketball team, championship cheerleading team. We have a lot of STEM programming for students, National Junior Honor Society. Our students do a lot of math competitions, chess, journalism as well. And so there's like a lot of stuff for kids to be able to do because we really believe that the whole child approach is necessary to make sure our kids get to and through college. And when we think, I'm going to close on this and lobby it over so I don't take up too much time. But when we think about, the goal of pre-K through education is to set kids up for high school. And so where did Woodridge students go for high school? And that's something that we're extremely proud of. Not only do they thrive at our tier 1 tech prep high school and our high performing collegiate high school, but they also go to School Without Walls. They go to Banneker. Our kids are getting into the Bullis School as well, which is a private school in Potomac, Maryland. And then also our kids get into St. John's and St. Stephen's. So when you leave with a Woodridge education, you are set up to thrive in any rigorous high performance setting. And that's what we really want for our kids, because the ultimate goal, of course, is to and through college. Mrs. Stevens?
Phenomenal. Thank you so much, Mrs. Owell Grant, for that wonderful and thorough introduction to Woodridge. And so, guys, one thing I want to let you know about Woodridge is what it means to work at Woodridge. Our culture at our campus is palpable and it permeates the most difficult situations. Right now, something that you should know is our attendance rate is in the 90th percentile in the virtual space. What that means is that students like coming to school. So all of those amazing things that Mrs. Owell Grant just spoke about that happens when we're in a brick and mortar also is happening in the virtual space. And it may look different, but it's happening and kids love it. Our teachers are lifelong learners and lifelong educators. We have teachers in our building who has been teaching for over 20 years. Teachers in our building who's been working for Friendship for over 20 years. And it's amazing that happens. And what makes that happen is the culture and the investment that the administrative team puts into our educators. So if you choose Friendship Woodridge, you are making a very great choice. Dr. Ship, did you want to say anything? Dr. Ship is our resident principal, our resident academy director. Just if you want to say hello, Dr. Ship.
Hi. And also IB coordinator as well too. So those IB questions, I see all the chats. Thank you guys. I'm going to try to respond back to them as soon as possible.
And if you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. Our email addresses are there. Thank you.
Thank you, Woodridge. I really appreciate that. So at this time, I want to open it up to the panel. We do have a good chunk of time left. We're actually doing a lot better than I thought we would. So I appreciate everybody's just attentiveness to the details and the time. I see a question, what is covered during Teacher Induction Week? How are teacher assessments conducted? And again, I would like to keep these specific to campuses as much as possible. We will have another webinar addressing more commonalities. And Lisa, what do you mean by teacher induction week? Are you referring to like our new teacher orientation? Are you referring to like the new hire process? What are you kind of referring to?
I was referring to the week in August that was indicated in the calendar. And it wasn't clear if it was new teacher or just the start of the year required by all teachers.
You know, I appreciate that clarification. I think, yeah, New Teaching University, we do also have a, well, traditionally when we were all around each other, that first week would be filled with professional development as well as new teacher orientation, making sure that all your documents and things that affect are in place. You'll be meeting with your schools or should have already met with your schools by that point, but you'll be really getting immersed in each school's kind of culture and climate. We also typically have, and I forget who alluded to, I want to say it was Mr. Spate, we have the convocation ceremony where all of our schools come together. It's a huge party, free food, it's amazing. We always typically have a guest speaker who knocks our socks off. Definitely missing it, and hopefully we don't miss it this year, but you know, things considering we may, or it just may be virtual. But we do have a robust, more or less, kind of week plan. We just want to make sure that we get you all the information that you need so you can be as successful as possible. And if any other principals and leaders want to add to that, feel free to jump in.
Bowman, I can just add a little on. It's honestly like a 2.5 week, 3 weeks in August. So Lisa, I saw you took a look at the calendar, but we do a ton of professional development at the beginning of the year and throughout the year. Some are specific to just new teachers to Friendship. It's not just new teachers in their first year, so you can learn the Friendship way, as they call it. And then there is at least 1 week of professional development that's community-based, community office-based. So all the third grade teachers come together and we discuss the content that they're working with and what they need to become best educators in their content classrooms. But then there's also like 4 or 5 days, I think, at least, where teachers then go back to their campuses and receive campus-specific professional development. So that's where you learn, okay, here's how the wonderful deputy director of math told you to teach math. Well, here's the amount of time you've got here at Armstrong, and here's how we make it work with what we have going on. And so you get a lot of support, especially in August, as well as throughout the year.
That's super helpful. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Anybody else have any questions they'd like to speak out? I see that some questions are getting answered in the chat.
I think I have a question for Woodbridge. I saw that middle school started at 4th grade. And can you speak to how, I've never seen middle school start at 4th grade. How does that work?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for that question. Our middle school is 5th grade through 8th grade. However, on our PMF report and on the STAR framework, they look at 4th grade in the city as middle school. I hope that.
Yeah, and I'll add to that.
Yeah.
So all Friendship public charter schools are organized as 4th through 8th grade for our accountability measures. But how we operate as a school, particularly at Woodbridge, as Mrs. Stevens says, 5th through 8th grade is what we consider middle school. And then other Friendship campuses have that same sort of organization. So for instance, on our middle school side is 5th through 6th grade. Our elementary side is pre-K through 4th. And for Woodbridge, our primary years program, which is the IB program, is pre-K through 4th. But if you were to look up any Friendship schools data on the PMF or on the charter board website or on the OSSE website, you would see it organized as pre-K through 3rd as elementary and 4th through 8th as middle. But on our campuses, we operate a little bit different.
Thank you.
Thank you for that clarification. Any additional questions? We do have some time left. I do have a lovely video to show you. So if there are no questions, we can fast forward to that. But again, I want to give you some time to ask your questions.
We definitely want to see your video, Mr. Bowman, but I have some questions. So my first question is for Ms. Stevens. Hello. So you mentioned that at Woodbridge, your attendance right now is in the 90th percentile, which is amazing, especially because we are virtual. So my question for you, as well as the rest of your team, is what exactly are you guys doing to ensure and support that the instructional model that you guys had in the brick and mortar is actually still taking place and being as smooth as possible virtually?
That is a phenomenal question. And so we have really looked at the practices that we put in place in the brick and mortar. Ms. Owo Grant spoke about our success coaches, which our success coaches are our instructional specialists. So our math instructional specialists, our ELA instructional specialists, and there are more. And what we do is each teacher is assigned a success coach. So that person is your collaboration partner. It's your brain, what do I want to say? It's a person that helps you brainstorm and plan and things of that nature, to review the data with you, have data talks, and to push you in areas where you may not know you need to be pushed, just for teacher growth and development. So that work has still continued in the virtual space. What that also may look like is we're tailor making what we need. Right. So we have our instructional leadership meetings where we talk about what things need to look differently in the virtual space, and we adapt. I hope that answered your question.
It actually did, and it was a great segue. Thank you. I have another question for Mr. Spade. So you mentioned like the importance of being adaptable, which I think we all would agree with. So my question for you is kind of similar to my question for Ms. Stevens. What strategies or things is your team putting in place to support staff in adapting to teaching virtually? Because for most staff, this is their first time doing this. So what have you been doing this year and your team have been doing this year that you think has been successful?
Excellent question. Thank you for that question. I think what we learned last school year, towards the end, the last quarter of last school year, is where we started for the beginning of this school year, right? Like we had a lot of challenges. We were kind of thrown into virtual learning, didn't know much about it. We were all trying to figure it out, just as the other principals on this call. But what we learned is that we needed to be in the space with our teachers to work out the virtual challenges first and foremost, right? And so we wanted to create a structure and a schedule that was very clear for our students and for our parents. We wanted to make sure that if there were any technology needs, that we got them the technology and the resources in a timely fashion before we even got into the virtual space. In regards to our teachers, what we've done is that we've spent a lot of time not just looking at the curriculum and thinking about the way that we used to teach, but thinking about what that looks and sounds like in a virtual classroom. Now that I'm sitting in front of you, how do I have breakout groups? How do I make sure that guided reading is still taking place? How do I make sure that assessments are still being administered? And so much of our conversations with our instructional coaches that we have an instructional coach, 3 instructional coaches in our building, have been around what does that look and sound like in the virtual space? Let us break down module 1. Let us break down what this looks like for your guided reading groups. We wanted to have very intentional conversations with them, not just about the curriculum, but what it looks and sounds like in the virtual space. And so it's taking time to have those conversations and to making sure that we give them the resources and the support that they need.
Awesome. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for the question.
Thank you. Anybody else? I will also add that Ms. Hardy is an alumni of Friendship, and she currently works for us, but she's looking to grow within the organization. So she's here asking questions just like everybody else. So she wants the tips and tricks.
Mr. Bowman, can I ask a question to anyone who wants to answer it?
Sure.
I've been in education for a long period of time, and I hate to, well, basically it's just the social emotional piece that I think the parents have had. You know, this virtual stuff is tough, and especially for our children. So what has been done to basically take care of our children in that aspect? You know, that's, like I said, that's from what I believe that's key to our kids. If they don't know what's in our heart, they're not going to be concerned about what's between our ears. So, sorry to be so blunt about it, but.
All right. So I'll speak first. This is Mr. Spears from Blow Pierce. So every campus, Friendship campus, has a counselor, at least one counselor, school social worker, in addition to other staff members who, since we've gone virtually, such as our triple ST coordinator, we have kind of repurposed or refocused their day-to-day in terms of, checking in with families, looking at attendance reports, checking on students who are not there, offering support, continuing counseling services, jumping into classrooms, engaging students in conversations. And so I think everything that's happened since we've gone virtual has caused us to kind of rethink and retool, certain positions who in a virtual sense may not have as much engagement as we would in a brick and mortar setting. So we've really looked at who can we use and deploy and prepare and train to really support our students and our staff, to be honest with you, in terms of the social emotional piece, given everything that has transpired over the last couple of months. And so really looking at innovative and creative ways that we can be able to support and attack the rise of social emotional.
Well, thank you for sharing. It's nice to hear.
I would just add to what Mr. Spears just said about that social emotional piece. It's also about giving our teachers that are interfacing with children on a day-to-day basis and in more rotation than our guidance counselors. In addition to what Mr. Spears just said, also offering them clear techniques and clear strategies to invoke those conversations with children as well, right? Like we want to make sure that they have the tools and they have the means to be able to initiate those conversations and to do them in a timely and orderly fashion, and not to feel like they are just, kind of pulling it out of the sky. And so we're creating opportunities for those guidance counselors and for those student support people to have conversations with teachers about what they can do as they interface with children most. So I would just add that to what Mr. Spears said.
I'll add another thing. That same group does awesome work with ensuring that our families have everything that they need. This has been a challenge across the board for everyone, but particularly at home with families, including ensuring that they have food. At Southeast, we did a phenomenal job of our Adopt a Family program, where we had people from all across the nation donate jackets, food, supplies, everything that families may need to make sure that they're successful at home. And so that's just a part of our mission at Friendship Schools. Our job is to make sure that we're serving the community as possible, even if it taps in at the most needy as possible. So that's one of the things that we do at Friendship Schools.
I want to thank you all for sharing, and basically that's the family piece that I'm hearing throughout your presentation. So that's awesome to see that you're picking up on it as we're struggling during this time.
If I can add one more point to it, I don't know if everybody can hear me.
No, go for it.
So I know that many of our campuses, I know ours in particular, at the Chamberlain campus, we also are partnered with not just utilizing our support staff that's in the building, where we are providing opportunities for our families to have multiple town halls. We are doing specifically targeted social emotional support for our families. How to, for example, we had one, how to work when you have multiple scholars in the home, how to get them all logged on, how to set up schedules, those kind of things. The other thing that we're also doing is that we are also working with an outside organization where we are also recommending families who
You're going out, Miss Christian. So it seems like Miss Christian is having some technical difficulties, but I'll make sure to get you all her contact information so that she can continue to express what it was that she was expressing. Is there anybody else who would like to ask a question to anybody on the panel in particular? Yes, I see a hand raised. Elisa?
Yes, hi, good evening, everyone. My question is for the Woodbridge campus. They stated that they had 90% of their students logging on virtually, and I would like to know, how are they engaging their parents as partners to achieve virtual learning success?
That is such a phenomenal question, and that is the key
Thank
to
you.
everything. It's the key to that percentage. Actually, what we've done in March when we first got the message that we were going virtual and we didn't know when we were coming back, we immediately reached out to our families. But I want to also stress this one point, that our school culture has always considered parents as partners before a pandemic hit, and that was monumental in this because that relationship was already there. We didn't have to build that relationship in the virtual space. It was just showing our parents how to access it virtually. So I wanted to make sure that that's key within that, in answering that question. Additionally, we've hosted so many parent nights, orientations, made ourselves completely accessible to our parents. Mr. Spears from Blow Pierce spoke about the many different positions we have to help out with social and emotional development at Friendship. And what we've done is we put them all together into one team, our behavioral and mental health team. That team also is directly related to our parent action committee team. So we meet with our parents on a consistent basis. We communicate with our parents when scholars are not logging on. We help our parents. Another school mentioned about how they give suggestions for how to just navigate the difficulties that come with virtual learning, how if you have multiple learners in a space at one time. So we don't just say, oh, you're absent, but we go deeper to figure out the why and to help our families solve that problem. That's just a little bit.
That's a lot. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you for that question.
You're
Anybody
welcome.
else? Definitely your time. I want to give you this time to ask any questions you may have. We don't get a lot of opportunities to have all these people in the same space.
Well, I believe in sharing the airtime, but if it's free, my question has, hey, it's there. So my question had to do, and I did post it in the chat, but my question has to do with basically the messaging around like school reopenings. I know we've all heard from, several students and parents who are concerned because there are schools in the district and around who are opening soon. So I'm just curious about how you guys are tackling like that real-time challenge at this moment. And that's for any leader who would like to answer.
I can jump in and take this one. So Friendship stance is we will reopen when it's safe, right? With a really, really hard period at the end of it, and with the inclusion of all stakeholders. So Friendship is consulting with an organization called Stronger Consulting to help create a reopening strategy and agenda. And they have galvanized a team of folks of all different stakeholders. So staff members, parents, older students as well. And we're having conversations about like, how can we reopen? What's the best way to reopen? What should instruction look like when we do reopen? How do we make it manageable? Do we have the financial resources? All of that stuff, right? Because it's really important that teachers feel safe about coming in, not just physically safe, but even feel that they can handle what's being asked of them, right? Being able to, support in-person instruction and possibly also support online instruction. So we're getting everyone's insight and opinions together to first figure out what makes sense for our organization. Some surveys and things will be sent out. So at the beginning of the school year, we also sent out a lot of surveys to families, to teachers. Friendship also held town halls to make sure that staff members felt safe even with our in-person option, because we do have an in-person option right now called Learning Hubs, and it's only really available for students who really need it the most. And we have class sizes of like maybe 4 to 5 kids. Everyone is socially distanced. We have hub leaders and managers and pod leaders in the space, and all staff members were trained, parents were trained, students were trained, and that's working out really well. And so that same sort of slow and steady wins the race, making sure that all stakeholders are part of that conversation is the same approach we're taking when it comes to reopening. We are not reopening February 1st like DCPS. And so Friendship is going to remain virtual. And we are thinking about possibly reopening in the fourth quarter, which for us is end of March, early April. But that would definitely depend on if it's safe to reopen in a hybrid model. So it would not be a full reopening. And even if we do that, our families would still have the opportunity to stay virtual, right? Because at the end of the day, it's about options on what's safe for families, what's safe for students, what's safe for staff. So we're going slow and steady. We've galvanized a consulting team that's really good at helping schools make these sort of decisions. And we have a team of all stakeholders who are part of figuring out what's going to work best for reopening before we even say that we're going to reopen in any model. And I think that's one thing about Friendship that I personally appreciate, having been here for a long time, like everybody else, almost a decade now, is that they really consider everyone's perspective when it comes to trying to initiate something new, right? Like, what do the people really feel? What do the people know? Let's get their voices, like get their ideas and their opinions, because we're going to be the ones on the ground making it happen, right? And so that top-down sort of leadership that we sometimes see in other spaces doesn't really permeate as much at Friendship.
Thank you so much.
Questions are spot on, Ms. Hardy.
Yeah, and I do recognize that it is after 5 o'clock. So if any of my leaders need to pivot and take care of the business, I definitely appreciate you coming out today. I appreciate your time. I'm sure I can speak on behalf of the audience and saying thank you for coming out and sharing your time and sharing your knowledge and wisdom. And if any of the audience members need to leave at this time, again, I do understand. But again, I will stay here till about 5:15, field in any questions that you may have. So feel free to continue to ask them. And as long as there are people here willing to answer them, again, we'll have a hard stop at 5:15. Can we see the video? Yes, we can see the video. You got your popcorn? All right, so before I go to the video, I do want to say that we are planning our next webinar for February. It is going to be called the FPCS hiring process. This is designed to give you a behind the scenes lens into what we do and how we make selections. I also would like to have some of our staff members shed some like do's and don'ts, but also kind of horror stories, interview experiences, things like that. So that way you all can kind of know, what we've seen, some what not to do's and what you probably should spend some time doing. We very much value preparedness and preparation. So I'm sure you'll hear that across the board, but just want to put that on your radar in case you had to leave during the video. All right. Most of you have probably seen this video before, but it's always nice to watch it again. It is a TED Talk video. I'm sure some of you were like, oh, let me share my sound. Hold on. Oh, it is being shared.
I have spent
I love her. Oh my goodness.
either at the schoolhouse, on the way to the schoolhouse, or talking about what happens in the schoolhouse. Both my parents were educators. My maternal grandparents were educators. And for the past 40 years, I've done the same thing. And so needless to say, over those years, I've had a chance to look at education reform from a lot of perspectives. Some of those reforms have been good, some of them have been not so good. And we know why kids drop out. We know why kids don't learn. It's either poverty, low attendance, negative peer influences. We know why. But one of the things that we never discuss, or we rarely discuss, is the value and importance of human connection. Relationships. James Comer says that no significant learning can occur without a significant relationship. George Washington Carver says all learning is understanding relationships. Everyone in this room has been affected by a teacher or an adult. For years, I have watched people teach. I have looked at the best and I've looked at some of the worst. A colleague said to me one time, they don't pay me to like the kids. They pay me to teach a lesson. The kids should learn it. I should teach it. They should learn it. Case closed. Well, I said to her, kids don't learn from people they don't like. She said, that's just a bunch of hooey. And I said to her, well, your year is going to be long and arduous, dear. Needless to say, it was. Some people think that you can either have it in you to build a relationship or you don't. I think Stephen Covey had the right idea. He said you ought to just throw in a few simple things, like seeking first to understand as opposed to being understood. Simple things like apologizing. You ever thought about that? Tell a kid you're sorry, they're in shock. I taught a lesson once on ratios. I'm not real good with math, but I was working on it. And I got back and looked at that teacher edition. I taught the whole lesson wrong. So I came back to class the next day and I said, look, guys, I need to apologize. I taught the whole lesson wrong. I'm so sorry. They said, that's okay, Miss Pearson. You were so excited. We just let you go. I have had classes that were so low, so academically deficient that I cried. I wondered, how am I going to take this group in 9 months from where they are to where they need to be? And it was difficult. It was awfully hard. How do I raise the self-esteem of a child and his academic achievement at the same time? One year I came up with a bright idea. I told all my students, you were chosen to be in my class because I am the best teacher and you are the best students. They put us all together so we could show everybody else how to do it. One of the students said, really? I said, really? We have to show the other classes how to do it. So when we walk down the hall, people will notice us. So you can't make noise. You just have to strut. And I gave him a saying to say, I am somebody. I was somebody when I came. I'll be a better somebody when I leave. I am powerful and I am strong. I deserve the education that I get here. I have things to do, people to impress, and places to go. And they said,
Man.
you say it long enough, it starts to be a part of you. And so I gave a quiz, 20 questions. Student missed 18. I put a +2 on this paper and a big smiley face. He said, Miss Pearson, is this an F? I said, yes. He said, then why'd you put a smiley face? I said, because you on the roll. You got 2 right, you didn't miss them all. I said, and when we review this, won't you do better? He said, yes, ma'am, I can do better. You see, -18 sucks all the life out of you. +2 said, I ain't all bad. For years, I watched my mother take the time at recess to review, go on home visits in the afternoon, buy combs and brushes and peanut butter and crackers to put in her desk drawer for kids that needed to eat, and a washcloth and some soap for the kids who didn't smell so good. See, it's hard to teach kids who stink. And kids can be cruel. And so she kept those things in her desk, and years later, after she retired, I watched some of those same kids come through and say to her, you know, Miss Walker, you made a difference in my life. You made it work for me. You made me feel like I was somebody when I knew at the bottom I wasn't. And I want you to just see what I've become. And when my mama died 2 years ago at 92, there were so many former students at her funeral. It brought tears to my eyes, not because she was gone, but because she left a legacy of relationships that could never disappear. Can we stand to have more relationships? Absolutely. Will you like all your children? Of course not. And you know your toughest kids are never absent. Never. You won't like them all, and the tough ones show up for a reason. It's the connection, it's the relationships. And while you won't like them all, the key is they can never, ever know it. So teachers become great actors and great actresses, and we come to work when we don't feel like it, and we listen to policy that doesn't make sense, and we teach anyway. We teach anyway because that's what we do. Teaching and learning should bring joy. How powerful would our world be if we had kids who were not afraid to take risks, who were not afraid to think, and who had a champion? Every child deserves a champion, an adult who will never give up on them, who understands the power of connection and insists that they become the best that they can possibly be. Is this job tough? You betcha. Oh God, you betcha. But it is not impossible. We can do this. We're educators. We're born to make a difference. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. That was the video I've been waiting for. But no, I really think that that video captures very nicely what it is that we believe at Friendship. And I, again, thank you all for coming. I will stick around again until 5:15, which is a 4-minute hard stop. If you all would like to stick around and ask any questions that you didn't get a chance to get answers to, again, I'll be here till 5:15. But other than that, I appreciate you for coming. Please be on the lookout in your email for our upcoming webinar, again, called the FPCS hiring process.
I actually do have a question, DeMar.
Go for it.
So I had actually put in an application for a position next year. How could I know which positions you guys are actually looking at for next? I have started looking for positions for next year.
So it sounds like you're asking me how can you differentiate between which positions are currently open and which positions are for the upcoming school year?
Kind of, like I know it's labeled, but I know some positions they don't know if it's a need for it yet.
Right. So great question. Yeah, and you're probably referring to the email that I sent you explaining kind of what, right. So as the positions become available, for example, if you're interested in a academy director, which is what we consider a vice principal at Friendship. If you're interested in an academy director position right now, you're probably have applied to the 21-22 academy director position. As soon as that actual requisition gets processed and approval, we have a bunch of processes and approvals on the backside. Once all of that stuff happens, then I will reach out to you specifically and let you know, like, hey, this position has become available. If with your permission, I would like to move you over to that candidate pool, et cetera. So just so you know, but what we wanted to do, and I don't know whose feedback that is. Thank you, whoever it was. I don't know, but yeah. So, and once those positions become available, again, I'll reach out to you all. And also I was using those positions again to build relationships. I wanted you all to come out to this because I want you to really see what Friendship is about. It's one thing to apply to an organization and have, just kind of at face value what it represents and what it's about. But when you get a chance to talk to a variety of people from a variety of backgrounds, different faces, different makeups, different, everything, because we definitely take diversity to heart. It just means so much more. And I think that you'll be invested a lot more too, if you really see what we're all about versus just applying and you kind of being a resume. But it also puts my face to those emails, and vice versa. I get to see a lot of you all and I get to engage with you all. And I'm definitely paying attention to who's asking questions. Not that, you're being great or anything, but I am aware of those things. And I definitely take that into account when I, send resumes to different campuses and things of that nature. Hopefully I answered your question. If I didn't, let me know. Oh, you're muted. I'm sorry.
You did. Thank you.
No problem.
Mr. Bowen, I have a question as well. I'm certified in middle school and high school science and applied for high school. Should I also put in an application for middle school?
Yes, if you want to be considered for both, I would recommend that you put it in for both. Otherwise, I would have to guess and then, reach out to you. But there is no limit on how many opportunities you can apply for. I would gladly, if you're qualified and all of those things check out, recommend you to any of our campuses for whatever positions you are qualified for. So if you want to teach elementary, middle school, elementary science on top of that, feel free to fill it out too.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and our application should be really easy. Once you've submitted one already, it should be like a one-click application. 5:14, got about 40 seconds left. I'm serious about this 5:15. Got to respect that time. One last question. I see Paulette with a hand raised. You're currently muted, so if you're talking, I can't hear you.
Okay, I apologize for that.
No, no problem.
I'm currently working at Friendship Chamberlain in
Okay.
one of the learning hubs a, um, as a lead assistant and as a dedicated aide. And I'm trying to find out just what qualities or skills are you actually looking for to hire dedicated aides because I'm with the temp agency right now and I'm constantly applying for positions if I see them announced, but I'm never selected. But I'm actually in the hub and something one of the persons brought out, and even the speaker in the video that you just showed, Ted, about human connection. Throughout the day, that's what I have with the students within the Learning Hub, and I am doing what I think is being asked or required or what's needed to assist the students and to build that relationship with them. And so I'm wondering just what else is that I can do on my end to make me more qualified so that when I'm applying, my application is being considered as opposed to a better candidate that's selected, whereas I'm actually in there, performing the work right now.
Yeah, no, I definitely understand that, and I will be as very frank about the dedicated aid role specifically. First and foremost, it is our quote unquote entry level position. It is also our highest applied for position. So the volume when we post a dedicated aid position is kind of jaw dropping at times. I can leave a weekend and not check it, and then I come back on Monday, and there could be anywhere from 90 to 150 applies for the dedicated aid position. So it's really popular for people coming out of high school, coming out of college, things like that. The other part about the dedicated A role, and I know that there's at least one other person in the chat, I mean, in the call right now who's applied for the dedicated A role, is that it is very student specific. It is not a reflection of you or your accomplishments or your background or your journey. It is truly designed and specifically geared toward that kid. So for example, the student may react very, very, very negatively to women. Unfortunately, that student can only have a male, or vice versa. The student may react very, very negatively to, certain stimuli, certain speech patterns, certain backgrounds. It's really unique to a child. So, and there's no way to make that kind of evident in the emails, that you get sent saying that you weren't selected for the dedicated A role. But I do stress that the dedicated A, like a dedicated A rejection, is not a reflection of you. It's not a reflection of your background. It's not a reflection of your academic education experience. It's truly because this student and you are not going to mix. That's really what it boils down to is, are you a perfect match for this student? Are you good enough match in our eyes for this student? And, at the end of the day, we value students going to and through college. And it would be unfair to the student to put somebody that we don't feel, will best meet the needs of that kid in particular. I recommend to get certified in teaching. If you aren't already, I think you are, if I'm remembering your resume correctly, but get a teacher position because, okay, well, I would recommend taking a praxis or something to that effect so that you can get around more students on a more kind of organized level. But with respect to dedicated aid, it's really going to boil down to who the kid is. And unfortunately, we can't predict, the kid. So it's really unique to the campus, it's unique to the child. And I do apologize for that. I know you are very consistent. I really appreciate you coming out today. When I see your name, I'm like, yeah, and I'm glad you are working with Chamberlain. I got my Chamberlain sweater on right now. I know Miss Stevens is not going to appreciate that because she's a Woodbridge Eagle. I'm still waiting on my shirt. I know I didn't.
So are you. And so are you.
I am an Eagle. I talked with them over the summer last summer. But yeah, I just want to say that about dedicated aid. It is unique to the kid. It has nothing to do with you.
Okay. Well, oftentimes some jobs that you apply for, they may consider if you have working experience in a certain area that would give you those qualifications. And that's what I do have. I've retired from the federal government and I have an extensive work background that I thought, on top of other, experiences working with children, taking a course in early child development. And but I'll talk to you later on and just see if I can get some guidelines from you as far as some of what you're saying now to start.
And I do also just want to remind everybody on the call that the next webinar is actually the FPCS hiring process. So these questions that you're asking right now is perfect for the dialogue that I plan to have next time, because I do want to put you all in the best position to join our family. I think it's a great family to be a part of. I mentioned I'm an alum. I started in the 8th grade, graduated from the high school, got scholarships and things to that effect to go to college, came back, did some teaching with Friendship. I taught at Woodridge, I taught at Chamberlain. I've been to a lot of the campuses, and now work in our community office. So I'm absolutely, all for Friendship. But I do think that these questions will be better served for the next webinar. And I don't want to rob other people the opportunity at the questions you're asking as well, because I think the answers deserve to be shared with everybody. And with that being said, I have given you more than the time I anticipated, but it has been absolutely amazing. I really appreciate you all coming out today. If you enjoyed it, please tell your friends. This is being recorded, so I will be sharing this with everybody so that way you all can refer back to it at your leisure. But please be on the lookout for the next email. I plan to send sometime next week, probably Friday next week, again, entitled the FPCS hiring process. You all have a great night. Be safe. And if you do go out, please mask up.